Hello everyone, I am Gareth here from What Culture Wrestling, and you are joining me today on a very quiet day of news. Not an awful lot happened last night, which is an absolute lie because so much happened and I need to jump straight on into it. So straight away we had NXT Takeover 30 and my goodness, what a show. So much happened. I really enjoyed it, so I'm just going to try and rifle through exactly what happened. There was so much. We've obviously got to go through this and all the stuff that happened on Dynamite. It's going to be a hell of a news, guys. So first of all, on the pre-show, we had the crowning of new tag team #1 contenders. I nearly said champions. It's been a long night. I'm still trying to get my head around a lot of stuff. But it is Tyler Breeze and Fandango. They won a triple threat tag match against Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde of Legado del Fantasma. So there you go. They tag team #1 contenders. Let me know what you think of that. I maybe would have preferred Legado del Fantasma to get it, but you know, it is what it is. Next up, Corey Graves was back for NXT commentary, which was awesome, but it did mean that we didn't have Mauro Ranallo, who was back home in Canada, which there's no real news at this point why that was the case, but it was nice having Corey back. It was the old school voice of NXT returning at the anniversary event, so yeah, I enjoyed that. And then also we had the announcement that NXT UK is going to be making its triumphant return in September. Obviously, it's not been on throughout this entire current crazy period, so fingers crossed they stick the landing, and yeah, it's back and it's bigger than ever. Also, another big return that was announced on this show is the return of Tommaso Ciampa, who hasn't been seen, I don't believe, since that NXT in Your House period when he had his match with Karrion Kross, who, my goodness, we will get to later on. So yeah, that's really cool. We're going to see the return of Tommaso Ciampa. Right, now on to the main card action that happened at NXT TakeOver 30. We had Finn Balor. He beat Timothy Thatcher in the first match. That was the show opener. I thought it was going to be the ladder match, but it wasn't. It was this grappling fest where they just ground each other out, and Thatcher had him on the ground for most of the match, and he was just isolating his limbs and his knee. I think it was his left knee, had been really injured, but Balor came out on top. Personally, I would have liked to see Thatcher win, but it is what it is. I'm never going to complain when you see Finn Balor win because he's just a really cool guy. Then we had the NXT North American title ladder match, which was won by, drum roll, Damian Priest. Yeah, it was not Velveteen Dream, Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, or Cameron Grimes. It was Damian Priest. And it was, as far as ladder matches go, it's very hard to do a really bad one in NXT when you've got this many talented dudes in the ring together, but it wasn't quite as good as, say, the last North American title ladder match that we have, and you had Ricochet flying off everything, Lars Sullivan murdering people, and all the rest of it. But it did a job. I understand why it was placed where it was now, because if that was the show opener, I would have been a bit like, yeah, it's okay, it's not bad. So I'm just happy that Damian Priest finally gets a belt, and let's see where he goes now with it. Then we had Adam Cole against Pat McAfee, and my goodness, Pat McAfee is a flippy dude. Throughout this match, he looked really good. Like he obviously was doing he did a senton off the top rope onto everyone from the outside. But then in between his moves, when he was like dealing out his punishment and the rest of it, he had the thing that you need when you're a good heel. He was just mocking him, he was smack talking, he just made the most of absolutely every beat that he had. Bearing in mind that he's not a wrestler and he had like a couple of weeks practice and training before this, I thought he did really well. There was a point when I was thinking he's maybe doing a little bit too well because he's had 2 weeks training and he's like going toe to toe with an absolute vet in Adam Cole. But Adam Cole won in the end, which is, yeah, definitely the right result. But I think the fact that he did hold his own for so long, it opens the door for maybe a rematch further down the line. I'd love to see Pat McAfee with a bit more training behind him. I think he'd be a really big asset. And I think he's made a lot of people who've maybe gone from the NFL to WWE look quite stupid in the fact that he's managed to probably outshine most of them in the space of 2 weeks. Then we had the NXT Women's Championship match, which was, of course, Io Shirai taking on Dakota Kai. And Dakota Kai had Raquel Gonzalez in the corner as well, which is always a little bit of a combustible element. We don't know what's going to happen there. And I thought Dakota Kai did really well. I thought she looked like an absolute threat all the way through this. She isolated Io Shirai's, I think it was her left elbow, because she slammed it into a post early on. She looked really good just all the way through it. They gelled really well together. They had awesome chemistry. And then Raquel was just always there. She didn't get involved a lot throughout most of the match. And then at the end, there was a big thing where the ref got kicked in the face by Dakota Kai because, you know, that's what happens. And then Raquel came in, absolutely battered Io Shirai, slammed her with a choke slam, threw Dakota Kai on her. Ref counted, Didn't get the 3. It was like, oh my god, they even tricked and did all the rest and they cheated and they still didn't win. And then Io Shirai won in the end, did loads of moonsaults. Did one out to the outside, one on the inside as well. And then after the match, Raquel Gonzalez started beating up Io Shirai, and then Rhea Ripley came out and just squared up to Raquel Gonzalez, and it was a bit like, oh, okay. Okay, if you want to do this going forward, that's great, but why now? Why are you building this at the end of a title match? Because it just seems to overshadow all that great work that's just been done by Io and Dakota Kai. So, not sure about that. And then Rhea Ripley was like stood in the background, just like looking at Io Shirai, like, oh, I want that belt, but I'm gonna have to go and beat up Raquel Gonzalez first. But oh, I'm gonna get you. It was weird that. So I'm not sure how I felt about it. Let me know what you guys thought. And then we had the main event, which of course was Karrion Kross taking on NXT champion Keith Lee. And yeah, this did exactly what it said on the tin. Karrion Kross was trying to dissect Keith Lee all the way through the match, trying to pick him apart. Again, a lot of attention was paid on the arm, on his left arm, which, after you've just seen a match where Io Shirai had her arm dissected and taken apart by Dakota Kai, it was a little bit, I'm not sure, it felt a bit lazy, let's say that, in terms of booking, because it was 2 matches back-to-back isolating on one arm, but that's really nitpicking because the rest of the match was so good. Keith Lee kept coming back with these big fiery comebacks, and Karrion Kross was like, I've never experienced anything like this. This guy's next level. And then they just absolutely obliterated each other, and in the end, after an incredible side suplex, the Doomsday suplex off the second rope, Karrion Kross is your new NXT champion. The stunned silence is exactly how I felt this morning. I was just in shock. And then, to add further shock to the moment, Karrion Kross has now apparently been injured. He got himself injured midway through the match. I believe he separated his shoulder. And this is all according to PW Insider. Triple H did his media call after the match and after TakeOver as the event came to an end. And yeah, he noted that Kross got through most of the match with this shoulder injury. He managed to pick up Keith Lee. He did the suplex with an absolutely battered shoulder. So the guy's a machine. I'm really upset if this means now that he has to relinquish that belt, because there's been no word yet on how severe the injury is, how long he's going to be out. But fingers crossed he gets well soon, because I need this title run, because that guy is an absolute force of nature, and Scarlett is insane. Right, that's NXT out the way. Did anything else happen? Oh yeah, Dynamite. So we had a Mimosa Mayhem matchup that was announced for AEW All Out, the pay-per-view, obviously that's coming up. This is going to be going down between Le Champion, Chris Jericho, and Orange Cassidy. He came out in the middle of Orange Cassidy's interview segment, and he said, right, this matchup's going to happen, and it's a first time ever matchup, obviously. I don't think there's ever been a Mimosa Mayhem matchup before. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this, the way you win this match is by pinfall. Yeah, cool, check. That seems pretty standard. Submission, yeah, again. Or by being thrown into an 80-gallon container of orange juice and champagne, which is aka a mimosa. So little twist there. Kind of understand why it's got that name now, but yeah, I'm on board. If any two people can make this kind of insane, just brilliant match work, it's these two. Then we also got the announcement that on next Thursday's Dynamite, obviously that's been moved around because of the NBA playoffs, hence why we've had the Saturday Dynamite as well. Alex Marvez revealed that a tag team gauntlet bout will take place, and the winner is going to get an opportunity at the AEW Tag Team Championships, obviously, which is currently held by Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. And we've got a whole bunch of teams, which I will let you know now exactly who is in it. So the Natural Nightmares and the Young Bucks are going to start the match, and then after that, the winner of that match then faces the Best Friends, and then the winner of that match will face FDR, who earned their final spot thanks to their #1 rankings in the tag division. So the rankings actually do mean something. See, they told you. Yeah, but you were just too silly to listen. But this does sound like an absolutely awesome match, and it's just, again, going to put a great big spotlight on that incredible tag division, so I am so down for it. And speaking of FTR, the #1 ranked tag team in this division right now, they officially aligned with Tully Blanchard on that Dynamite that happened last night, which still feels really weird to say, but Saturday's great when they're like this. So it appeared that Blanchard's still managing Sean Spears, but now he's got the FTR team on board, so potentially we might get the Modern Horsemen coming. Blanchard accompanied FTR to the ring during their match with Private Party on Dynamite. And a couple of times he was getting involved in the match, and in the end, yeah, he helped his new team get a victory. So it's already looking like a bit of a fruitful partnership. Also, on this Saturday Dynamite, we had NWA Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa. She just popped up out of nowhere. She fancied to go on Dynamite. And she challenged Hikaru Shida to a match at All Out. So that is going to go down now on September 5th. Rosa's obviously been pushing for this match, if you've seen her on social media, ever since Shida declared that she wanted like an open challenge. Anybody can come forward and take her on. So yeah, this is going to be really cool. I like the inter-promotional matches. Again, that's something AEW have been trying to do more, trying to get people from the outside coming in. Yeah, again, I'm totally down for this match. Also, we had Diamante and Ivelisse. They won the AEW Deadly Draw Tag Team Tournament that's been going on for the last couple of weeks. And they beat the Nightmare Sisters, which was Ali and Brandy Rhodes, on that episode of Dynamite, which, yeah, that was really cool. It was a nice, lovely moment. Stood there next to the trophy. Big thumbs up from me. And just when you thought there couldn't be any more announcements on this episode of AEW Dynamite, we got even more matches announced for next week, and like segments and everything else. So obviously we've got that gauntlet match, which is going to go down on Thursday. Also, we've got Britt Baker and Penelope Ford versus Big Swole in a handicap match. Amazing. Then we're going to have Chris Jericho's obviously going to be on commentary in the night. We're going to have Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in a tables match, because you know Sammy Guevara smashed him through a table, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then we're going to have a contract signing between Jon Moxley and MJF, obviously for the AEW World Championship. So just tune into Dynamite, because it looks like it's going to be awesome. And the last big talking point, it's the big talking point in my opinion. I know that's crazy after saying all those things I've just said already. But Brodie Lee absolutely massacred Cody, and he is now your new TNT champion. So yeah, a lot of title changes tonight, a lot of big title changes. So it was, yeah, this came out of nowhere in a way, because obviously Brodie Lee popped up and he was the new challenger and everything else. But Cody's had such a strong run as TNT champion up until this point. He's been taking on everybody and winning week to week to week, but here he just got squashed. He got absolutely massacred by Brodie Lee. Cody didn't really get any offense in at all. Yeah, Brodie Lee's your new champion. He lifted the big gold belt, what we said. Then he absolutely battered the Nightmare family, and then I think he got a bag and like threw all the pieces of shrapnel of the old TNT belt onto Cody. So he was like, "Oh, that's your reign. This is mine. I've got the new shiny belt, because this is when the TNT Championship really starts." It was wow. It makes me want to tune in for next Dynamite. Already I wanted to do that because of all the matches that have turned up and been announced. It's just, my little mind can't take all this action. It was incredible. Right, now that's the big two events done, all the stuff that happened there. Let's talk about a few other things now. And obviously there's been a big stipulation added to the Fiend versus Braun Strowman match at SummerSlam. So yeah, I know you're so excited for this one. This is the match that we're all turning up to SummerSlam for, right? Yeah, right. But WWE have now issued a press release which says that this Universal Championship showdown, this big clash of the Titans, which is so highly anticipated, is now going to be a Falls Count Anywhere match. Not sure why they couldn't have announced this on SmackDown, like before, during, or after the Fiend just popped out of an ambulance and everything else. Yeah. Again, the WWE promotional system, it never ceases to amaze, eh? But this is the quote, really quickly. Universal Champion Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt have inflicted an endless amount of physical and psychological agony upon one another over the last few months, and it will all come to a head at the biggest event of the summer, as the Monster collides with the Fiend in one of the most anticipated Universal title matches in WWE history. Debatable. The match was also announced as a Falls Count Anywhere match, as Strowman and Wyatt will have free reign over the WWE Thunderdome to try and brutally settle the rivalry. So it feels like this is now just a way to flex those Thunderdome muscles, which I'm totally down for, because the Thunderdome, I've had another night to think about it. I really like the Thunderdome, all the lighting effects and the fireworks and everything else. The Fiend's probably going to do loads of weird, wacky stuff, and so Strowman. And apparently Alexa Bliss may be majorly involved in this match as well, so I'm nothing but intrigued, let's say that. And in WWE/AEW hybrid news, I've had a lot of AEW and WWE stuff on today's news. This is quite apt, really. AEW superstar, former world champion, former WWE world champion, everything else, Chris Jericho has now officially got ownership of all of his trademarks from WWE. This is all according to PW Insider. The report mentions that the agreement between both sides, WWE and Jericho, was made back on June the 1st, but the official transfer took place this month in August. I nearly said April, it's been a long old night. So details of Jericho's trademark only include him getting his name, but any intellectual property that was created by either Jericho or WWE during his time with WWE will obviously remain with WWE. So all of his matches and I think the Y2J stuff, I think that's still owned by WWE. I'm not sure if you just made the list or that. I don't know if that's all still WWE, but to be honest, he's made that many in AEW already. He doesn't necessarily miss them. He doesn't really, I think he said a couple of years back he doesn't really want to be known as Y2J anymore because that's like in the past. But this is great for Jericho, I guess. He's got he's got complete ownership of his name, which is always nice. So, yeah, go Jericho. And the last thing we're going to talk about today, because, of course, it has been a crazy Sunday, but it's still a Sunday, so we got to talk about those SmackDown ratings, the overnights. And did they go up? Did they go down? Guys, it was the Thunderdome. Of course, they went up. So this is according to Showbuzz Daily. They said that last night's episode of SmackDown drew an average of 2.168 million viewers, which was an increase of 8.3%. So that's quite good. They also scored a 0.6 in the always important 18 to 49 demographic. And that was once again, I believe this is 3 weeks in a row now, that was number one for the evening. So that's, yeah, Thunderdome seems to have roped in a few people. So that's quite good. It's definitely improved the product, in my opinion. I think it would have improved NXT last night, TakeOver, because as much as I enjoyed all the in-ring action, just people slamming on the plexiglass and the really, just forced boos and cheers. To be honest, I quite prefer piped-in cheers at this point because I don't think I can stand listening to any more trainees saying fight forever when the match has literally just started. And that has been our Sunday news. I have been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of all the fallout from NXT Takeover 30 and Dynamite, Saturday Night Dynamite. What you think of all the matches announced for Thursday Dynamite. There's just so much going on. My little brain can't take it. We've also got SummerSlam tonight, so be sure to check out the What Culture stream for that on YouTube. But in the meantime, have fun wherever you are in the world, and I'm sure I'll see you very, very soon.